If you want to become a full stack developer in 2024, this is the only video you have to watch. Of course, you will watch a few more videos from a few more suggested down there, but I'm gonna tell you, if you don't want to waste your time, if you don't want to waste money, resources, anything, this is the only video you want to watch. You don't have to buy anything from me. You don't have to do anything. Just watch this video till the end and you will realize that there is a lot of value packed in this video because a lot of things have changed, will be changed in this coming year where you have to be smart in order to get ahead of people. And this video uncovers a lot of that, including a full roadmap for the full stack development. So let's start. Throughout this video, I will be referring to this full stack roadmap, which is an interactive roadmap on codedamn. Just for the sake of this video, we'll not go into the content details or anything, but this roadmap is a very solid resource for you to refer. Maybe you can also share it with other people if they are getting started with full stack. And it just provides you a full picture of, everything there is in full stack web development today, all the way from internet fundamentals, which is the very starting, very core thing, HTML, CSS, Chrome DevTools, all the way to the interview preparation for full stack. Let's try and figure out what this roadmap is, how you can make it work for yourself, and what are a few things which you should also be taking care of. So very first thing is that you get started with programming, right? So most of the people who get started with programming is that they just start with a coding language, which is great, which is awesome. If you know Python, if you know C, C++, that's completely fine. What I also want you to encourage is that you find your why. Before even starting this roadmap or anything, I want to encourage you. The 0th step is why you are doing what you're doing. Set an arbitrary goal or set something which you want to achieve. Maybe that's like, you want to get a job. That's okay. That's an okay goal. A better goal would be that you want to build a product. You want to build a game. You want to build at least 5 projects which use front end and back end both. When you make your goals a little project oriented, what it does is that it helps you keep yourself on track. So maybe it's June of 2024 and you feel like you have made 1 project, but you wanted to make at least 5 projects. So you know that, I want to speed up, I want to pace up. So figure out what your goal for next year is, first of all, and then try to achieve it with the knowledge which you will get in this video. So step 1 is done. Step 0 is done actually, that you figure out what's your why. Why are you doing? Is it a job? Is it an internship? If it's a job, then your goal should be like applying to at least 50 companies, applying to at least 100 companies. And I want to start applying after, let's say, March or April. So I'm going to give myself 4 months of preparation and then I'm going to start applying. Or if it is like building my own product, my own SaaS company, anything, you give yourself again like 3-4 months of time. And then you say that within the next 3 months, I want to build that. So you figure out your why, then you start with this roadmap. So you start with internet fundamentals. So when I say internet fundamentals, what I mean is that you should know about what you are learning, right? Full stack web development has a very small word, but a very important word called as web. Full stack and development are nothing if you don't include the word web, because everything on this roadmap is happening on web, which is websites, front end, back end, servers. How do you deploy? How do you create front ends which are amazing looking, which are nice, which are, the user experience is good, your developer experience is good. So all of that, we'll get to all of that. But you start with the internet fundamentals. What is internet? How is it working? And so on. Then you move on to HTML and CSS. These are two very, you can say, very common now. There is a lot of content you will find on YouTube and, Udemy's of the world and free and paid courses and everything. So it's easy to get lost into a plethora of information, all the way from old practices of HTML and CSS to the new ones. So you want to be careful because the problem with a lot of content is that, you don't know which one is good. So HTML and CSS is something which you would use to take your first step in the full stack web development journey on building web pages. Like, how do you build your progress to be this bold, or this text to be this small, this color should be blue indigo. All of that is you can achieve through HTML and CSS, right? At this point, I would actually interrupt, because what's going to happen the moment you complete HTML, CSS, or the moment you are in this course or you're learning about HTML, CSS as well, you're going to get stuck. You're going to get stuck a lot of times. You will have doubts. Oh, why that P tag is called P tag? Oh, why that span is called span? Why can't I use P tag instead of span tag? How does the CSS property works? Infinite doubts. You will have infinite doubts, and not everything would be answered in the course. Doesn't matter which course you take up. I can guarantee you, I can create a question in HTML and CSS which is not answered in any of that videos or anything. At that point, what you have to do is in 2024, you have to start using AI, artificial intelligence, LLM models, to help you educate faster. What you don't want to do is learn HTML and CSS through a course and then use Google. I take back on my advice, which I've been giving for 10 years straight, that, open Google in 10 tabs and, figure out which resource is the best resource. That is something you should still do, but not at beginner stages. At the stages where, you're trying to learn as much as you want, as much as you can, as fast as you can, you have to learn as fast as you can. And Google doesn't help. There's a new player in the town, the LLMs, these AI models, GPT 3.5, GPT 4, ChatGPT, all these models are much, much better at tutoring and mentoring, even better than your so-called mentors, which you get for, a lot expensive rates these days. So what you want to do is you want to have an AI which helps you alongside, whatever preparation you are doing. What I currently recommend is ChatGPT 4, ChatGPT Plus, which will cost you $20 a month subscription with anything you want. Or what you can also use is the codedamn AI, which, by the way, also uses ChatGPT 4. It uses GPT-4 under the hood. So you will get quality responses, if not better. And the way you can access it is going to this quick start explore menu and clicking on this AI doubt solver, right? So this AI doubt solver is codedamm's ChatGPT integration, which would help you with anything you want, right? So let's say you want help with index.html because we are learning HTML, and you say that this is your code, just hello, and then you start asking, why is p tag named p? Very silly, very stupid thing, but you can ask AI about these things and it will start answering you patiently. So it tells me the p tag in HTML stands for paragraph. It's used to define a block of text as making paragraph, and so on. Your code snippet, because this is what I wrote. So I can now ask, why do people created span tag if p tag was already there? Infinitely curious minds can use this AI software to just continuously chat, and it'll help you learn things in a very deep manner. The reason I say AI is a game changer in this is because when you're learning about these initial technologies, they have their questions answered, right? They are somewhere on the web. You just have to figure out where that exact answer is. And an LLM like GPT-4 level quality reduces that time to 0 because you just ask and it'll just scan itself and the training data and everything it has, and it'll just give you the best answer. So see, it tells me the span tag in HTML was created to offer a way to style a specific part of text within a document without implying any structure or semantic meaning. Very important things. I can guarantee you most people would not know this. That span tag doesn't imply a structural or semantic meaning. True or false? A lot of people will fail it. I mean, some people will say it's true or some will say it's false, but people would not know it unless, you're just curious and you're doing this on your own. So you can see it also tells you about span tag as an inline element. So you ask it, what is an inline element? This is the way, guys, this is the way you learn in 2024. Not opening Google, but continuing your chat sessions. Continuing your your things. And right now my code was simple, but if you had a complex code, you would see that it performs even better in that case, right? So this is what you have to do. This is how you have to learn. When you get stuck, resort to AI. Stuck AI. That's what you have to do in 2024 to get ahead of people. You will still learn. Even if you don't do this, you will still learn, but what you will achieve in 8 months, you could have achieved in 2 months. Just because you're progressing so fast. I kind of like envy you people also in a way, because I spent so much time figuring out every little detail myself. But today, if I had to redo like my 10-year coding journey, I would probably be able to do it in half the time, if not even more, because these tools are just crazy good. LLM will help you solve a doubt or help you solve a concept which you have been struggling with for months even. Like, sometimes all it takes is quick, way of explaining something. And some resources you would feel like, I don't understand. I still don't understand what this guy is saying. But you can ask LLM again and again. I don't understand. What is this? Explain me again. And you do that until you understand. So very important thing I brought up very initially in the full stack roadmap, please use AI. I don't think a lot of people are talking about this because the underlying motivation is that how do we sell our course? It doesn't matter, to be very honest, at least in HTML and CSS things, because you can learn it from YouTube and everywhere. But if you will guaranteed get doubts, you will guaranteed have problems, then you have to use AI. And I would highly recommend you guys to not go for GPT 3.5. I mean, as a developer myself, I have used a lot of models and I feel GPT-4 is the best right now. I mean, what happens next year, we don't know. But GPT 3.5 is pretty basic when it comes to like, coding and logical abilities. You want GPT-4. GPT-4 is a good mentor, and codedamn AI, which I just showed you, it uses GPT-4. Anyway, coming back to Chrome DevTools. Chrome DevTools, think of it as something that helps you inspect, or it helps you, just understand your HTML and CSS structure in a better way, and JavaScript also, which we'll come to as well in some time. So you learn about HTML, CSS, you learn about Chrome DevTools, you learn about JavaScript, which is, a programming language. Chrome DevTools, just to come back on it again, just to give you a quick overview, is this tool right here, which you saw on the bottom. So you right click on any page, you click on inspect, you will get a lot of these tabs. I mean, some of them are because of an extension I installed, but you see all of this is what helps you debug your front end, right? Debug even your backend, like what's your backend saying, what's happening under the hood. So this is your, if you think about this in physical terms, this is your kind of a tool wrench, which helps you fix things. If your car is broken, you would call a mechanic, they will bring a toolkit with them and they'll start digging around. That's what you do as a developer, as a web developer. You start digging around with Chrome DevTools on front end, other various tools on back end. But you get the idea. Then of course, building projects is important. You just start building a few projects. And again, on codedamn, let's say if you are starting with a few projects, let's see, multiverse, let's say HTML5 photo gallery project. Very simple thing. What you have to do with projects is scope them correctly, right? So when I talk about scoping projects, what I mean is that define a relatively clear goal, that what this project is, what this should be doing, what this should not be doing. For example, in this multiverse project, if you take a look, we just have 4 steps, right? That's all we want to do. Step 1, getting started. Step 2, building the HTML structure, adding styles, and then finally building the footer. That's it. Once you complete this project on codedamn, you are done. Now, of course, you can go ahead and build on top of this project as well. But these quick wins allow you to gain confidence in yourself, right? That you are quickly building something. You will have a lot of more projects on codedamn if you wish to do that. Otherwise, outside of codedamn also, you can think of ideas on your own. A game which you want to build, a landing page, maybe a clone of some sort of app which you like, a tic-tac-toe, a small thing which you want to build, but always be building, always be shipping these things on GitHub, which we'll also get to in some time. So once you have built these projects, once you know about JavaScript, what variables are, these programming languages, very common things, I'm sure you would have heard about them. So once you learn about these things, start building stuff. And what you don't have to forget is AI along the way. You're stuck anywhere, don't understand anything in JavaScript, fire up an AI, ask it. Don't wait that I'll learn about this later, or that's okay. I mean, it's okay to compromise. No, you're living in the best golden age of AI era. I mean, how easy do you want it to be? This is as easy as it gets. I don't think, unless and until some company develops some chip which you can just, download that information directly. This is as good as it will get, right? You can have a personal mentor to you, dedicated 24/7, here to answer any question you have, and you guys still are preferring to not learn. That's crazy. So anyway, coming back to the roadmap again, you start with JavaScript, you do some package managers. So these package managers are just basically helping you, allow you to install dependencies, organize your projects, use some few advanced features like mono repos and managing your scripts and all that stuff. So we will discuss that. Not that important, but it's a developer experience thing, right? So you should know about what your toolkit is, exactly like a mechanic, right? So a mechanic, when they're trying to debug, when they're trying to build something, they would know their every tool in and out. So this package manager is your tool, yet another tool. Then Git and GitHub is for you. If you're starting off, it's more or less for showcasing your work. At some point when you have a job or when you have a serious project going on, this also becomes an important place to just organize your code in general, because you're working in multi-team setup, right? So you will have multiple people contributing to a single code base, and it becomes a chaos if you don't use systems like these. So Git and GitHub help you understand how do you, Git helps you manage your source control, source code, and GitHub helps you publish that. So repositories, or your code base of the landing page clone or the game which you made. Let's say I want to review your code. How would I do that? I'll go to your GitHub repo, I'll check out your code, and I'll give you some comments that this could be improved, that could be improved, and so on. Then you move on to React.js. Pretty standard stuff, something which we also discussed last year, but needs to be told again and again to people. React is here to stay, at least, for the next year as well. But yeah, you should be learning React.js as a developer who has no experience with anything. I would probably go with React. There are a couple of reasons why. First of all, React is very popular, and popular things tend to be picked up by popular companies, or companies which are getting traction, or just starting off also in general. And those companies which are picking up React.js as a solution will want to hire people who are building on React.js, right? So your chances of getting a job, if that's your initial goal, increases if you're picking a technology which most of the market uses or wants to use. If you're building something of your own completely, let's say you're trying to build a game, then I would probably not recommend React.js. I would probably say that you should, after JavaScript, you should try to learn about a game engine. But this roadmap is an opinionated one, and nobody has been fired to use React. So that's also in your defense. Like, if you know React, you will just understand JavaScript a little bit more better. If there were a few things which you did not understood, this will be the time to pick it up again. And again, what you don't have to forget is that use AI. Use AI. Stuck in React, how does use effect work? Ask it. How does use state work? Ask it. You don't understand what is React.js? Why the hell do we even need this framework? Ask it. The best tool is here for you to help you out. GPT 3.5, GPT 4, these models are crazy good. GPT 4 especially. 3.5 not that much, like I mentioned. So do that. React.js ecosystem, again, once you are done with React, try to learn about these libraries alongside it. Again, I won't get into a lot of details because you would understand this as you are learning React.js, that React is just a library. It's very useful, but at fundamentally your basic app like data fetching, or state management, globally you want to manage state, how do you share data across components, those sort of things you want to learn. So you want to learn a little bit about ecosystem, and to be very honest, this is pretty much it. This is all you need as an ecosystem. We use Zustand a lot on our own codedamn code base. We use React Query, we use TRPC. So these are the things which what you're seeing is like, it's not made out of thin air. It's actually the things we use in our production website, which serves like millions of page views, tens of millions of page views every month. So that's something you have to be careful about. Tailwind CSS, very common thing these days among web developers to quickly style your CSS, but fundamentals remain same. You have to be strong in CSS in general before you pick up Tailwind. So you will have good quality courses here as well. Then again, you build React.js projects, just like you build, these projects. You would have these step-by-step instructions on codedamn. So you don't have to go and figure out what do I do next, what do I start as a first step, and so on. You do a little bit of testing. Testing now is important because it just teaches you, how to build a complete software. If you look at a complete software not only includes source code, it also includes the code which tests that code, right? I don't think anybody writes tests for tests. If that is common, just let me know. But that is where you stop. You write your code, you deploy it somewhere, create some CI/CD pipelines, use GitHub and Git and all. But you also write code that tests your code. So this makes you a complete developer. This completes you in a way. Then you come to backend. Now, from this point onwards, a little bit of backend starts, right? You start with Linux. I hope everyone knows what Linux is. Linux is an operating system, which is very, very common for deploying servers. So you might not be using a Linux computer. Maybe you are using Windows, maybe you're using Mac OS. Some of you are using Linux, Ubuntu, very common flavor. But for the most part, when you're deploying servers on backend, you would be interacting with a Linux computer, right? So it's important to know about like, how do you navigate in a computer? How do you use CLI and all? And fun fact is that these projects which you're building on codedamn, they give you this terminal right at the bottom. This is a Linux computer. These commands which I wrote, just ll, ls, lsla, yeah, all these commands, these are like Linux commands, right? I can go back a directory, I can come forward a directory, I can write git v, something like this. So all of this is like Linux, which you automatically would learn a little bit about as you are building these projects on the top as well. What's next? You learn about the programming language for backend, just like you learn JavaScript, which is a very important, if it's the only language, it becomes a very important language, right? So it's a very important language for front end. Similarly, you can take a lot of your JavaScript learnings from front end all the way into backend through Node.js, right? Node.js gives you a lot more power on the servers because it has access to your server compute, network, file system, you name it. So you can use Node.js to connect with databases. You can use Node.js to do a bunch of things. But before you do that, it's also like something which I recommend personally also, is that you get a little bit of safety first, safety in hand using TypeScript, right? TypeScript it's a technology built by Microsoft, and it makes your code type safe so it doesn't blow in your face. Now, again, I don't want to get into a lot of these details, because the reason I don't want to get into that is because I know fundamentally that all of you watching this video will forget all the little details. All I want to tell you is that these technologies are very relevant, very important, and they're very interesting, because as you keep on learning these things, small, one step by one step, you will realize all of them make sense. As you are building a project on codedamn, as you are improving a project locally as well, you would start realizing that these technologies are so interesting, important, and every step you are doing makes your code base prettier, makes your code base better, sometimes for users, sometimes for yourself, right? As developers. Then you learn a little bit about JavaScript under the hood, like some advanced sides of JavaScript. How does queuing works? What is event loop? What is thread pool in JavaScript? Again, slightly on the advanced side, something you would not probably need on your day-to-day life, but something you should be knowing about, right? Because when you write weird code, which like looks very weird in nature, these are some of the things which help you understand what the hell is even going on in that code base, right? Then you get to a little bit to the API development. How do you build REST APIs? How do you build GraphQL? What is this TRPC technology, which is the new hype in the town? So you get to all of this stuff. Again, super easy, I would say, once you have covered a lot of this stuff over, but super important stuff, right? Then you get to Postgres. Postgres is, I think, the most popular database now in terms of like the trends. So it's rising to be the most popular, just to clarify. It's rising to be the most popular, and Postgres is, I think it's a good choice. We at codedamn shifted from MongoDB a few months back all the way dedicated to Postgres on AWS, and we couldn't be happier, right? So the performance is great. We got a lot of data insights on, using tools like Metabase, which supports Postgres and these databases out of the box. And plus, one thing which I personally love about SQL databases is foreign key constraints. Makes it extremely hard for you to write bad code that results in corrupted data all across. So that's a huge win for us. But yeah, similarly, I think a lot of companies and a lot of startups now prefer Postgres. Then you get to a little bit of front and back again with Next.js 14. Just because we learned React, I feel that it's important to also take it a step further and use a production ready framework like Next.js on top of React, which solves a lot of things which you can't do in React alone. Then you get to a little bit of backend projects. Again, when you're stuck, use AI. When you're going, then of course you just go along the way. And by the way, this AI is also available 24/7 here in the form of this chatbot. So you can ask it anything whenever you're stuck in a playground. You don't have to open it. This is more like a dedicated area. I mean, of course you can open it. What I want to say is that on codedamn, we are betting heavily on AI. And I want you to personally use this all the time. If I could, I would just add AI on every screen if I can. Because I know that you guys can accelerate so fast if you just stop complaining and stop searching for that one friend who would look at your code and just help you understand why this is working, why this is not working, and just copy the damn file, paste it here and ask it, and it'll just tell you what's wrong and what's right with it. So anyway, finally, once you're done with the backend, this Redis is used for caching. So it's like, it has a few applications like rate limiting and having quick access to frequently accessed data. So let's say if you have a website which computes something very heavy in nature, then you just cache it inside Redis, access it, use it. So long story short, these technologies like Redis and even Postgres, these are like small organized databases, right? Which you can use instead of creating your own data structures inside of your code base. You use Redis, you use Postgres, you use these technologies to store and retrieve data. Then you get to WebSockets, which I think is also an important technology in today's time. If you are building anything real time, like games, like, let's say you are building an application that helps multiple friends synchronize music, together. Let's say when somebody plays, all the music player play. When somebody pauses, all of that pauses. So in order to do that efficiently, you want to deliver that communication as fast as possible. And in those cases, you use technologies like WebSockets, right? And finally, last but not the least, one of the last and not the least things, but is that you take a look at web security. You don't want to be a programmer that builds code which gets hacked and then you ruin your company and your reputation, right? So web security, how do you secure? How do you become an ethical hacker yourself? That's also something you should know as some of the things, not of of course, not everything, as a backend developer. And then finally, you learn a little bit about CI/CD, which starts to go a little bit into DevOps also in a way. How do you use GitHub Actions? How do you write these YAML files? How do you configure your deployment infra and so on? And then finally, you also prepare for interview. Now on codedamn, apart from all the courses which are there linked on, all of these topics which you can see, what you also have is interview kits, which is something which we very recently launched. So you take up these interview kits in which you will have to answer these questions asked by AI again. And you're welcome. These AIs are using GPT-4 again. They are using text to voice to simulate an interview environment for you. And these are the questions exactly what somebody might ask you in an interview, right? What is React.js? Why do you need use effect? Why do you need use state? What are functional components? All of these things. So you give these 60-90 minute interview kits. We have a few interview kits. There are a lot more coming up as well. And you get better. You practice for this. Of course, if you're building your own product, you can skip this. But you give interview questions, you try out freelancing, you do all of this good stuff, and you get better. And that's how you become a full stack developer in 2024. I wanted to keep this video under 30 minutes so that I can also put that in title. But yeah, that's basically it. The only two things which you need is pure dedication so that you don't give up along the way. And you need this AI guide, this AI person, this AI thing, whatever you want to call this. You use it on codedamn, you use it on ChatGPT. That's the only two sites, to be honest, which I trust right now myself as a developer, because we have also built this on ChatGPT. But use GPT-4. Nobody's offering GPT-4 for free today. So all of this, which you see, the doubt solving and everything, this on codedamn is included with the content. So you see all these courses which are there for every single HTML and CSS, JavaScript, Chrome DevTools. These are courses from top instructors instructors like me, instructors like Piyush Garg, who has a Next.js course as well. If you go ahead and check it out here, Next.js 14, this is built by Piyush. So a lot of good instructors have come together to create this full stack learning path, to create this AI tool, which you can see, to create this in-browser IDE where you can build these projects, where you can practice, where you can do all this sort of stuff. And all of this is available on codedamn under one pro membership, right? You can access a lot of things for free also. You have this YouTube channel for free. But if you want to try out codedamn Pro and upgrade your account to Pro and unlock everything, like there is no BS pricing here, to be honest, right? So you can go ahead and charge, you can go ahead and buy every single course. Or what I usually recommend is you just go and buy Pro and just access the full platform. That's it. Buy it and forget about it that you have to buy this course, or you have to buy AI, or you have to buy access to interview kits, or you want to buy a project, or you want to buy a single course. Too much hassle, right? Just go to pricing tab, look at your plan, monthly, yearly, or lifetime access. Buy it and get access to this full course, full learning path, full AI access, anytime available to you, 24/7, powered by GPT, and it's just good. It's how you should learn. It's how I would learn if I could redo this 10 years ago. Unfortunately, there was no roadmap or no AI or no dedicated playgrounds and these resources like where I could practice 10 years ago. So here I am telling you about this, building this for you, and then helping you become a better developer as well, so that you don't spend 10 years like I did getting to a point where I am today. That's all for this one, guys. I hope this video helped you. I would include a few discount codes. We have an ongoing year-end sale and New Year sale as well going on. So it's the best time to check out codedamn for exploring this pro membership. That's all for this one. I want to see you guys become the best version of your developer possible, and I am here to help you. Let me know in any way I can help you. Let me know if there is a course you want to see, if there is an instructor we should onboard on codedamn, if there's a feature you want to see, anything here for you 24/7, just like AI. Maybe not 24/7 because AI is there for you. But yeah, anytime you need help, let me know in the comments below, on my email address, on my socials. Here to help. That's all for this one. I'm gonna see you in the next video really soon.